Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hanging With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thanks for logging on and tuning in. If you haven't done it yet, we'd really love it if you go down and hit subscribe for us. Just push the little button, come back over and over again, see some phenomenal artists, authors, creators of all kinds. We are at MegaCon in Orlando, Florida, at the Orange County Convention Center. We want to thank Fan Expo for inviting us to come in here and hang with some amazing artists and creators. We are here hanging with comic artist Chad Hardin from DC Comics. Man.
How we doing?
How you doing, Chad?
Doing fantastic.
Thank you for hanging with us, man.
Oh, no worries. My
How's
pleasure.
it going down on the floor?
Busy.
Yeah. It's just starting.
Well,
It's just,
Thursday was like a Saturday.
Yeah.
And Friday's like a, oh no. You know, just like, rah, you know, wall to wall.
Anybody want to speculate on what that Saturday's going to
Oh,
look
I
like?
know. And that's what everyone says. I'm like going, oh.
Yeah.
You know, you have to like build yourself up mentally. It's just the wall of
And they just
humanity.
came from a panel, too.
Well, you know, actually, I was supposed to. But it's tomorrow. It's actually tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
So-
that's what happens. You come to the conventions, and you know the schedule just blurs together after
Yeah.
a while.
You got to roll with the punches every now and then.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'll tell you what. Now, the web is going to know you from Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
As an artist drawing Harley Quinn now for New 52.
Yeah. And a little bit of rebirth.
And a little bit of rebirth. Okay. So when did you? Well, when did you start as an artist?
You know, it all started when I was a kid. Spent a lot of time in the hospital, and you know, this was the era before cable television, before video games, before you know any of that. And I mean, the only thing there was to do was just
See,
draw.
before you started talking,
Yeah.
the only thing dating us was the little gray in our beard. And now they know.
Before the personal PC, yeah. Before cellular telephones, yeah. And you know, so I just started drawing, and then everyone's like, well, what did you do after that? And I'm like, I just never stopped.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of kids, like, you know, I have 4 children. A lot of kids start drawing when they're young.
My boys all went through the phase where you know
Yeah.
they needed a sketch pad,
Right.
and then in their teen years they did it, and then they got a little older, then they
Yeah.
It just
Then
kinda went
there's
away.
dates and football and
Girls.
girls. And if you have girls, boys, yeah. You know, so and so there's just a lot of distractions that creep in, and I was one of those kids who, like, I remember Mrs. Merkel, my history teacher in high school, just like, you never stop drawing. I'm like, that's right, just kept on drawing, sent me to detention, drew in detention, drew on the bus, So-
Favorite things to draw?
The first thing was probably stuff like Scooby-Doo, but it was also, do you remember the Super Friends cartoon?
Absolutely.
So there's Super Friends and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And
Oh
so
my
I was
gosh, I
just,
remember that, yeah.
just drawing those constantly. And then I found out about comics, like, I was drawing the cartoons first. I'm like, and then you find out that it's like one person drawing the whole book. And you're like, this is what I want to do, So I really did. I knew at an early age, it's like, this is what I wanted.
So now, when you decided that you wanted to draw professionally, seek out the comic book companies or start going to cons? How did you get introduced to that world?
Back then, the only thing I knew, because I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and everything was in New York, everything. And, I didn't know anyone in New York. I'd never been past the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And but in the back of the comics, they would have the little, submission editor address. And I mean, I sent them, I had to send them hundreds of submissions.
My authors know all about that.
Yeah.
Submit here, submit here,
Yes.
submit here, so that you can get all those letters that say no.
And I always got letters that were polite rejections, hey, this is good stuff. You might want to work on this, might want to work on that, and keep trying, And I submitted like clockwork, never got any type of acceptance from Marvel or DC. But as I got older and the web started, and particularly like broadband where you're able to
internet-
send like big files in a
and
matter of minutes.
This has shifted the arts and entertainment paradigm. It really has.
Yeah.
It's allowed us to reach our audience. It's allowed us to reach the corporate sponsors and big companies. Still opened it up so much.
It changed everything. And so, whereas it used to be you had to go to New York and throw your portfolio down in front of an editor and harass them into giving you work.
Right,
You
the
could
security
harass
didn't show
them
up before
through-
you were done, right?
Yeah, right. You could harass them through email, and so what I did though is I'd sort of gotten enough rejection letters from Marvel and DC that I was like, okay, that's what's
not a
the
thing.
definition of stupid, right? And after 300 times, I finally figured it out, and so what I did though is there was a comic book group on the internet called Digital Webbing.
Okay.
And they were like doing all their submissions and critiques, and people were just showing each other like what they were doing, and it was all done on the internet web forum. And then the publisher would be like, "Hey, this is really good. Do you want to do some pages for a book?"
Wow.
And so I was like, "Yeah,
Been waiting for that call for
and
a long time. Yeah.
so my first comic ever was Digital Webbing 29, and it was a 20-page Fist of Justice story, which sold 500 copies, and I bought 100 of them. Okay, and gave them to everyone. Like, here, I did it. Finally, I did it.
He just described my first novel.
And but the thing is it wasn't until I did that comic. It's like once you sort of prove, like, that you can step in the ring, or you can step up to the batter's plate and at least swing at the ball.
Yep.
That gets you so much further, because like the next time I went to San Diego Comic-Con and they did like the portfolio review or whatever, it's like I just put a copy of the book in there too.
There
Like,
it
hey,
is.
look.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started getting interviews at the talent searches and things like that.
You're doing Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Were you drawn to that, or was that something that they needed
No,
to do or wanted you to do?
it was so funny. People don't know this. I've been working for DC for like 12 years. Everyone thinks Harley is like my first book,
And now it's like, hey, he's a Harley Quinn guy.
And that's okay though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. I started out as a fill-in. Joey Cavallari, who was someone I met at San Diego, someone who reviewed my portfolio. And I'd been sending him samples like clockwork. Anything I did, I would just send him like 4 pages like once a month. Enough to be on his radar and not be annoying. You know what I mean? There's like a fine line.
I don't know. I've crossed that. I think I trip over that
Well,
line all the time, so.
but what happened is he called me one day and he's like, "Hey, my artist got in a car wreck, broke his arm." He's like, "I have 2 assignments, a 22-page assignment and a 6-page assignment." He's like, "Which one do you want?" I'm like, "I want them both." Like,
All right, so
I was like so ready to go.
So I just want to
It's like-
say that's how do you respond to a call like
Yeah.
that? Am I supposed to be, oh my God, I'm so sorry he broke his arm in a car wreck? Because at this particular point, I'm not feeling that emotion.
that is the first time. That is the first time I even thought about that guy, and I just realized what a terrible human being I am.
See? I was like, how do you answer that call? You're like, I know I'm supposed to say I feel it, but I
was
just
like
don't.
stepping over his dead body without any concern to humanity and my fellow man. And
You see, and that's what we're all about. We want we want the people who enjoy your art so much through the DC world to get to know you as a guy a little bit.
Yeah.
So now we know about Harley. We know about your journey to Harley. Through DC. Now we come to the segment of the show I have nicknamed Clickbait.
Here we go.
So
here comes the fun question.
That's right. These are the questions. The girls go to the web. They shuffle them up. I don't even get to see them before they pop it up there.
Okay.
And your real life answers are supposed to give you the headline that makes me like a YouTube superstar.
Okay. All right.
I'd say to make you a very popular artist, but that's already done, so check. We'll take credit for it. That's what we'll do. Okay. He's an artist. This isn't even fair. Other than writing, name 3 ways to use a pencil.
Oh, boy.
Well, I think one of them might be to draw something.
No, that's
you can't
art.
write. Oh, that's
That's
art.
art.
That
That's art.
counts. Okay,
So-
you can't do that.
Drumstick.
Drumstick.
Okay. Weapon. An
draws a
improvised
bad
stabby
guy.
device.
He draws the bad guy.
Watch Guy Ritchie's Rock and Rolla.
There you go.
Where he takes out the bouncer with a pencil.
There you go.
And a musical instrument. You can put it in your mouth and you can thump it, and Do we have a pencil?
They don't.
We're going to get internet famous here.
This is.
You
get it. Come on, bring it. Bring the pencil here.
So
from back there. Okay, we'll do the next question, and then we'll play the pencil. All right. If we could trap you at a TV show for a week, where would you want to be trapped?
I Dream a Genie or Bewitched. Like swap me for.
That's pretty. Like Major Nelson or either one of the Darrens.
Yeah.
That could
right?
work.
Wouldn't that work? Or somewhere on Linda Carter's Wonder Woman.
That could be awesome.
That's probably terribly misogynistic. I'm sorry.
But
but
it's not our fault. We were born this way.
Right, exactly. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
even nice guys. Like
either put me in front of an Amazon goddess or magical blonde bombshells.
No matter how nice a guy you are, you like an Amazon goddess. You can't help yourself.
Yeah, no, you can't.
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay, 2 things that are on your particular bucket list. What haven't you done that you really want to do?
I've been thinking about this a lot, especially after now that I've sort of passed the torch to John Timms on Harley. I mean, I did Harley for 4 years, and I'm still doing issues and fill-ins and covers and whatnot. But you start to realize, 2 days ago, I turned 43. And you start to realize the older you get that there's that clock is going to stop ticking one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your time on this little blue rock is a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
And the first 43 years went really fast.
They seem like they did.
Yeah, just like blink of an eye, done.
Although I remember being like 23 thinking that this was old. My sons
money I would pay to be 23.
My sons are now that age.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't think this is old because I don't feel that old.
And that's just it. Your mind.
Yeah.
Your mind doesn't feel old.
Yeah.
But like you start to wake up and like your feet hurt or your back hurts or and then you watch I've watched my grandparents pass and I've watched my parents get old. And
anyone you like to draw? Any character you'd like to step in?
Well, that's just it. I think I'd like to do something that was creator owned. And you got to remember like when I was like super into comics. It was the age of Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld. And those guys overnight, one day said, hey, we're going to create our own thing. We're going to own it ourselves. And overnight became the second largest publisher on the planet. And the big corporations, they've learned from that.
And it's
not as easy
it's
today.
It's happening now. Like you said, the internet's changed the paradigm.
Yeah.
The opportunity is there.
Yes.
The question is...
The Uber for comics has not been created yet.
Yeah.
Someone's going to do it. And so I would like to do something where...
Be a part of that.
I've already been part of Harley. I'm pretty sure Harley is going to go on forever at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in another 50 years, people are going to still be reading Harley Quinns, and my artwork's going to be in those books, and there will be a little bit of a legacy
There's a legacy, yeah.
But I didn't create her. You know what I'm saying?
So you want to do something
I look at guys like Mike Mignola, who did Hellboy. I look at, Todd, who did Spawn, and
any ideas floating around for a character?
I'm not a writer at all. I got a lot of inspiration from Sergio Aragonis, who does Gru.
Yeah.
He just draws his script. And I'm like, I don't have to write, I can just draw the script.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe I get a friend to like put the dialogue in. I don't know. But something.
Us
even
word guys
even
are
if I
word guys like me are a dime a dozen, man.
Well, I just we'll see. I'd like to see if I can't create something that
would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That lasts the eons.
We're gonna grab some links down below so people can see the great work that you've already done.
Okay.
And we're also but hey, shoot us a line when you do that. When that comes.
Okay.
We want to be the first. We want to announce that to the web.
All right.
That you're out there doing your own thing.
I will do that.
All right. Where are you going to be next? Where are you going next?
I'm going home.
Going home.
Go to Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right.
And I go to my hometown, see my classmates.
Awesome.
Play a little video poker. Get some complimentary drinks.
He's from Vegas. He knows all the little roads.
Gonna either win it big or lose it all. So, but
occasionally they win it big. A lot of times they lose it all.
you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah. You
can't just go in there and throw quarters in a machine, or it'll all be gone. But if you know how to play the odds, you can have
There
some
you
fun.
go. There you go.
And
There you
and that's
go.
the key thing. You got to set aside some money and be like, this is my entertainment money for this weekend.
And that's it.
And that's it.
That's
You
it,
don't you don't go back to the ATM and empty, the
We
kids'
used to-
college
I
account.
used to have a rule that said, like, here's my entertainment
Right.
fund. And
Right.
if I make my
Right.
entertainment fund,
Right.
then the entertainment fund goes away.
Exactly.
And now I'm playing with their money.
Right. So
And
you
then I
just
don't feel bad,
there has to be a little bit of self-control, a little bit of rules that you stick to, and otherwise they say it's like heroin, where you're just like
Speaking of rules of the road, upcoming artists out there,
Oh.
what would you tell them?
Never stop drawing, never stop drawing, draw all the time. Learn to live without distractions. I teach too.
Awesome.
I teach.
Where do you teach?
I teach at Utah Valley University. I'm actually a professor of illustration.
Wow, Dean is actually from Utah.
And my students come in, and I'm teaching them figure drawing, and they have their phone like this, and they're doing this, and the model's over here.
Oh, wow.
And you
Yeah.
can't slap them because they'll send you to jail.
Yeah,
But I'm
I
like,
hear
what?
that
Like,
rumors.
you're wasting your time, you're wasting my time, you're wasting your parents' money,
Wow.
But
yeah, it is. Learn to focus.
yeah.
Focus is a big thing.
Yeah, well,
Creative.
and there's so many distractions. My son and I, for my birthday, we played the remastered video game, PlayStation 3 video game for PS4, the zombie one. It's
can't
escaped
keep
me at
up.
the moment. But
Yeah.
anyway, if I had that video, I mean, I had
We are both in so much-
combat when I was like 12.
Yep.
The
We were
Atari.
both in-
Remember when the things were made out of wood?
16-bit,
yeah. And we were like, oh, this is the best thing ever,
Joystick
It was
with
like
one
barn,
button.
barn, barn, yeah.
My kids freak me out because I watch them and their thumbs and I remember the joystick with
Yeah.
one button and
Yeah.
that was it.
And that's it.
And that was as complicated as we
Well,
wanted to get.
and the thing that was cool about it is you would play it for 15 minutes, you'd get bored and you'd go outside. But these games today are so immersive and so just like it sucks them in, and that's all they can think about, and
Yeah.
And
But focus is hard to find, and if you're going to be
really,
in the creative arts,
well,
you need focus.
and here's the other thing. The other thing I tell my students, I'm like, you are no longer competing against the people in this room. Like when I went to college, I was competing against the other kids in the room. These kids are competing against every kid in the world.
Yeah.
And there's kids in Brazil, in the Philippines, in Singapore, in Croatia, that would kill to have their job and to do it for 1/100th of what they're willing to be paid. And
It's
they
hard.
just don't realize like how steep the competition is.
It
The
is.
global competition.
And as the world
Yeah.
shrinks,
Yeah.
that's what happens
Yeah.
to the talent,
And
talent pool that's
I'm
out
like,
there.
you just have to be so good. You have to be undeniably
Oh,
good.
that's our shutout
Oh.
card. See, that's what they do.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
throw sticks and rocks at us.
They do. They
But,
do.
yeah.
And just when you get visiting, and then they do that. So, all right. So we're going to say thank you real quick. We're going to say thank
Thank
to
you,
our
guys.
partners and friends at Something Unique Magazine, the Florida Book News, Wordfire Press, Space Coast Comics, Famous Faces and Funnies. All those folks are sharing our videos all over the World Wide Web, hoping to share some amazing creators, artists, authors, filmmakers, entertainers of all kinds. We're so grateful that we get to do this. I'm GW Pomichter. We've been hanging with DC comic artist Chad Hardin. Pretty soon we're going to take the DC off that. It's just going to be Chad Hardin. You're going to know it. It's like Up in Lights. He lives in Vegas. He can afford the sign. He's going to get that up there as soon as he wins. Remember, folks, subscribe, log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.